Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Initiative Order. Most of you know me. I'm Nate, your friendly neighborhood DM, GM, AM, FM, whatever you want to call me. And as usual, I'm joined by my phenomenal cast of players. You probably noticed we are unfortunately short one Christine tonight. Love you, Christine. You can find her at Slumberjane. She's absolutely fantastic, and she will be back with us for the next game. Before the rest of them introduce themselves, though, thank yous and shout outs to get out of the way. Starting off with thank yous to the Initiative Order creative team for making this show happen. And thank you to Free League for providing us with all the wonderful digital artwork for this game. Super, super cool of them. They've been great to work with. Thank you. And some thank yous to our wonderful sponsors of the channel, starting off with Session Zero Clothing. So Session Zero creates some beautiful TTRPG inspired streetwear. If you use code ORDER at checkout, you'll get 15% off your purchase through them. Next sponsor, we have Norse Foundry, the crafters of some beautiful gemstone, metal dice, other TTRPG accessories as well. If you use code TIO followed by the number 15 at checkout, you will get 15% off your purchase through them. And we also have a sponsorship through Roaming Player Gear, created by our very own GotDM, Mr. Ray, fantastic dude, who's built this beautiful Dice Tower Dice Combo system, Dice Tower Dice Vault system, and it all snaps together. It's all magnetic, super, super cool. If you use code Carnaby20 at checkout with him, you'll get 20% off that system. And of course, we have the wonderful Mithril Armory, who have been providing us with the giveaway items that you see throughout our streams. We do not have a giveaway tonight, however, because we will be giving away some 1020s for the following stream. The stream is following this game later tonight at 4 p.m., which I will give you some details on that at the end of the show. Stick around for that. It's going to be wonderful. And I do want to say we are proud to be ambassadors of Jaspers Game Day. Wonderful organization, raising funds for suicide awareness, suicide prevention through TTRPGs. So check them out, support them if you're able to. It's a great cause, doing some wonderful, wonderful work. And I think that's everything. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to my wonderful players. Let's go ahead and start off with Coral.
Hello, friends. My name is Coral Reefer. You can find me on the Twitches at twitch.tv/queerventuretime and on the Twitters at QVenturetime, because Queer Venture Time is too many characters. We are always talking about all sorts of stuff. We've been diving real deep into my first playthrough of Skyrim, which I am super loving. And yeah, we're always talking about all sorts of stuff, gender, sex, sexuality, politics, the way the world works, how you can get involved, but going all about it, trying to keep good vibes. And so, yeah, if you want to chat.
Alrighty, next we'll move over to, let's go to Kelsey.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm Tombs and Tomes on Instagram and Twitch and Twitter. And today I'm going to be playing Kinlegelana, a changeling witch.
Perfect. Moving on, we'll throw it over to Royal, please.
Hey everyone, my name is Lee Royal, and on everywhere on social media, I am Royalty No Why. And currently, I am working on painting my Star-Lord helmet, so I can be Star-Lord T'Challa. You can check that out on Instagram, where I'll be dropping little nuggets of the progression. And yeah, today I'll be playing Nrobso.
Perfect. And of course, Keith.
Hi everybody, thanks for dropping by. I'm Keith on IG is where you can find me the most. I am not Kevin Bacon, or sometimes you can find me on TIO doing a charity stream and doing something called Evermore Tales that you might want to check out next Sunday. I'm playing Kovaan, Coven member of Kinlegelana.
Beautiful. All right, and this is the point where I ask our magical almighty tech guru Danny to please roll that beautiful intro for us. See y'all in a minute. and welcome back. So, before we dive into tonight's game, I'm the DM where I like to have my players tell me what happened last time. So, who would like to fill us in on our last session?
All right. So last time on Symbaroum, the adventurers set out to find Mayor Nightpitch and learn more about the mysterious and grisly disappearances in the town of Thistle Hold. We learned from Nightpitch that the mysterious killer on the loose is called the Flayer, but that also left us to believe there's much that's still unknown about their identity. Nightpitch also gave us more insight into Gorak and his companion Alahara, who brought back artifacts from the Davokar woods, one of which was the skull of the king, presumably corrupted. These two are out there somewhere, and they could be linked to the killings. Without more information for us, Nightpitch directed us to his lead corpse examiner and head of the guard for further questioning. He also informed us that plenty of information flows through the doors of the local tavern. After an amusing, albeit unproductive time at the tavern, in which Nrobso made new friends and spilled beer in someone's shoe, we learned about a mysterious third floor of the tavern where only those with vouchers may go. Perhaps that will be an adventure for another time. We then embarked to meet the head of the guard and the corpse examiner and learned new and interesting details about the mutilation of the victims.
Excellent, excellent. And where we stand, I believe one Agithe was investigating a medical journal from the corpse examiner. And if I recall correctly, you had a successful cunning check when checking out the details of these murders. So, Agithe, what I'll say to you is the most recent 4 victims are all passed in very similar manner to what Master Vernum did. Skin flayed, glands missing. There were 2 other victims before them, though. And these 2 victims, as you're reading through this journal, they're not labeled as Flayer killings. Their cause of death is unknown, as these 2 in particular were shredded to bits, torn to pieces where you cannot identify them from the remains that were left there. However, one thing that you notice with that cunning check that the corpse examiner seems to just completely be ignoring is the fact that these first 2 victims were killed in an area near the other 4. Different cause of death entirely, but the same general area.
And the main dude, the big dude who died, the Master Vernum, right? He is the only one who had fingers missing, correct?
Correct.
Cool. Including those 5 or 6, they're just all right. And we're still talking to the medical examiner right now?
Correct. You're still in that area. You have the journal on the table as well as another little file that's been left out there. And in that file, the captain has told you are statements that he took from witnesses.
Great. Can I get a chance to look at that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Hey, Nate.
Yes.
When Aggie was looking at the different bodies, did she notice if they were all the same type, all human/Ambrian, or was there a mixed bag with the victims?
From what it appears, they're all Ambrian. All right. So.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So, you open this up and you have the list of 6 victims. Which statement would you like to look at first?
Oh gosh. I'm going to start with the latest and go to the most recent. Basically, she's trying to criminal minds this shit and see if the killer, because the killer obviously has like a signature, because everything is going the same direction except for the small variation of the rings. So Aggie is trying to figure out if she is looking at a killer who is developing his style as he kills.
See, okay. Now, when you say the first victim, are you starting off with one that was shredded to pieces, or the first victim labeled as the Flayer's victim?
The first one shredded to pieces.
Okay, perfect.
To see if it's the same, possibly the same killer.
Okay, for sure. So, looking at this first little bit of information, the victim's name was Agithe, and she was a dancer at the salons of Symbaroum. And there was a witness there who said the following: "It was dark, but the abomination was darker still. The victim screamed like a child. Then came the sound, as if someone tore a body in two, as if it were made of a damp sailcloth. I took off as soon as I heard it." And that statement was made from somebody by the name of Alcared.
She immediately flips to the next victim.
Okay. Victim number 2 goes by the name of Bolgo, who was labeled as a treasure hunter. And the witness states that the man was huge, but the beast was bigger. First, I mistook it for a bear, but it sounded like I don't know, maybe it had been human once, but I've only heard abominations exist in Davokar, deep in the forest. Who knows?
And then just to the next one.
All right, so now you get into the victims labeled as the Flayer.
Yeah.
So what you notice is none of these victims are named, but there are statements from witnesses. The first statement is, "It just lay there in the alley opening. People must have passed it thinking it was a slaughterhouse waste. But I noted that it was freshly butchered, and when I came closer, I saw that it was human. I lost my dinner, and then I called for the night's watch."
Next one.
Okay. This one, "The body hung like a slaughtered animal. I thought it was a strange place for tendering beef. There was another man close, a rough type, looked like a hunter, so I didn't think much of it. The day after I heard about the murder, I went to tell the town watch about my observations. What if the killer I saw, the huntsman, he looked just like anyone. Unbelievable that such darkness, such raging blackness can be hidden within a human being."
Okay. And she doesn't need to go further.
Okay.
But she waves the medical examiner over. She's like, excuse me. I was wondering if you would.
Sentences today, dear.
You must be patient with me, sir. Okay, and when you've had as many years as I've had, it takes a little bit extra.
Well, when you've had as many swigs as I have, your patience wears thin. You just see him take a big swig out of his flask.
Anyways, in your observations, there seems to be a discrepancy and a commonality. So first, I found in the victim's statements that beforehand there were murders before the Flayer, correct?
If that's what it says in the book, then that's correct.
Okay, yes. And the murders before the Flayer are the victims are named, but they are not named after once the Flayer has appeared. Is there a reason for that?
Oh, I just haven't gotten around to filling in that part yet. The bodies are labeled over in the other tent.
Okay, wonderful. Well, then in that case, maybe I'll have to finish your job for you. And then on the other pamphlet, the other piece of information, I found that the Flayer appeared in a similar area as the previous murders. Has anybody looked into any connection between the two?
There's no connection to look at. 2 people were shredded, 4 people were skinned. It's clearly 2 different things going on here.
And she closes the book and sets it by her side and says, well, see, in my experience, people learn as they go. So I wonder if, now, of course, this is just a hypothesis, but I wonder if this is a creature who has learned to kill more efficiently. I wonder if the surgical precision with which they are extracting these glands, which in my mind must be used for something, they must be for a reason. I wonder if these initial victims were supposed to end up like the later ones, but the killer was merely unsuccessful.
Well, that's quite a wild theory you have there. But
wild times call for some wild theories.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the statements match up, don't they?
That's the only thing that gives me pause on this hypothesis. These statements, it seems to be a very distinct difference in what witnesses saw. I personally do not have that much experience with darker forces, so I do not necessarily know their power, but at least according to statements, the first killer was a dark, hulking mass, and the other killer, the Flayer, could walk among men. So I wonder if I do not know if there is a way for one to become the other. And that is the question that I am still holding.
And at this point, the captain kind of steps forward and well, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, there have been abominations in this town before, fairly recently, specifically when they returned from that damn expedition. A few of them died up there in the Davokar, but those that did make it back weren't right. Things began happening. Their bodies became twisted. Their flesh rotted. They became no longer Ambrian. My men had to dispatch quite a few of them. Unfortunately, they put up a good fucking fight and took out a few good men as well. But I'm confident we got rid of them all.
I see. And Aggie gives a very quick look right into both of the coven members' eyes. A look that says, I need to chat with you about this later, baby.
And I nod.
And Aggie, if I apologize. Go ahead, Keith.
I wanted to pose a question to Captain Marvelo.
Sure.
Master Vernum, was he a patron of the salons? And while I ask him, I'm looking at Gideon. I'm looking for items that seem off. Like a person in the town wouldn't normally adorn themselves with like a trinket or of that kind of sort.
Okay, for sure. Give me a vigilance check as you're looking around here. And Marvel kind of steps forward and just says, well, I mean, Master Vernum was more noble than most men. But even the most noble men have their vices. I couldn't say for certain. I personally have never seen him there, but it wouldn't be out of the ordinary if he had popped in for a drink or two.
I got 3 out of 9.
3 out of 9, okay. So are you looking just around the tent in general? Or are you looking specifically at the captain? Or are you just kind of...
I'm looking at Gideon.
Oh, at Gideon, okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if what remains of her, if there's something that just seems out of place that she adorned herself with. Some kind of accessory or something.
So the victims are actually not in this tent. They're in a different tent.
Oh, okay.
So I will let you keep that roll, though, if you move over to that tent and want to look over
sure.
there as well. So,
my bad.
But yeah,
Thank
currently,
you.
Yep, no worries. But Agithe, go ahead and give me another cunning check if you would be so kind. And actually, anybody who's been listening to these statements as well. Aggie, I'm assuming you've been sharing this information with your group.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would be, kind of Aggie, we're deciding this as a character choice now. Aggie like mutters out loud. She learns, she retains information, audio, so she always has to read everything out loud in order to retain it. And she got a 10 out of 15.
Okay, perfect.
You said it was vigilant?
Cunning check on this one, please.
Oh, cunning. I failed.
Okay.
Same. 15 out of 13.
Okay, and Nrobso, you're muted there, bud.
Yeah, I failed. No, I failed. 16 out of 7.
Okay, no worries. So, Agithe, since you're the one really kind of skimming over these words in this parchment in your hand, one thing that you do catch about the location of the first 2 victims that were shredded, it's a very familiar spot to you. It's a spot where a building overlooks it, and on top of that building, at one point, there was a small goblin following a bloody trail. It was that same alleyway that the blood trail had led to.
And that's from session 1, right?
Correct, yes. So Nrobso had left the academy following the bloody trail up on the rooftops, and it ended down in an alleyway.
Great.
And it appears that's where these victims were found. What's left of them, anyway.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna share that with the party. I'm gonna be like, Nrobso, I think we have seen what what you ended up following.
Nrobso follows one of said bodies.
Nrobso followed, and we could not find the body, but that's where that trail led that you followed. I believe we had arrived after the body had already been cleaned up. But we have finally solved that mystery. She gives a very awkward chuckle.
Body was there long before Nrobso arrived, yes?
Oh, yes.
Nrobso's just making sure body wasn't fresh, for the killer could still have been in the area.
I believe by the time we had arrived, it was much too late. But in all honesty, it does kind of make me feel a bit more cautious about sending one of us out on wild chases by ourselves. And she just turns around the visuals of like the absolutely mutilated body. I don't want this to be how Nrobso dies.
Nrobso would like to investigate the bodies even more. And I go towards the tent. I go in.
And yeah, Aggie will absolutely follow because she needs to fucking write these names into this damn book because that's important. That's part of your job.
All right, so you two moving over to the other tent. Kovaan and Keen, do you follow, or is there anything else you would like to do at this time?
I look at Keen and see if she noticed anything that any of us have missed.
Curiosity. We might have happened upon the location of some of the killings, and we happened to find some brown hairs that we had also linked to Vernum's murder. Are you aware of any brown hairs on a victim or any brown hairs that you would know of in general? And I'm going to produce the ones that I took.
Okay. So as you pull those out, Captain Marvel kind of reaches for them.
Very well.
He just sits there thinking for a moment. One of the expedition members. What's his name? Alahara. Had black hair, brown hair, same color as this.
Am I incorrect? But was Alahara a changeling? A shapeshifter?
Yes.
Interesting. And I'll take the hairs back.
I'll hand them over.
Interesting indeed.
And out of curiosity, we've been investigating for Mayor Night Pitch, and we were wondering what sort of authority we could get to potentially search the entirety of the saloons of Symbaroum.
I mean, I could probably get you away.
That would be amazing.
Give me a little bit of time here, and he steps out of the tent and snaps his fingers, and another guard comes running over. This one a bit younger, not quite as fully armored as the others. You see, he's got like just a basic leather messenger bag with a bunch of pieces of parchment in it, and you see Captain Marvel just kind of whisper something into his ear, and the kid just kind of nods and takes off sprinting out of the gate.
Thank you very much. Kovaan, were there any questions that you had at all?
And I kind of just look in the air and turn to the captain. Bolgo. Did he happen to also go on these expeditions with Gorak?
No. He was a treasure hunter, but he was not part of this expedition.
I nod and I look at Keen and shall we follow the group?
I suppose we shall. Thank you very much for your time, Captain.
Of course, thank you for your help.
Aggie does not leave until every single piece of information that is on the charts near these bodies has been copied down into the notes. She is meticulous about it. Honestly, given the examiner, she's also probably double checking all of the other information too, and making sure it's accurate. And then before she leaves, she is going to very cutely hobble on up to Captain Marvello and just give him a nice little pat on the shoulder. Hand him all of the accurate files, and say, I know this is a very stressful time, but perhaps you could use some extra assistance to take the stress off of your current employee. And I gesture to the examiner, who I assume is at this point passed out drunk.
She's still hanging on, but she's definitely leaning hard on the table at this point and is just glaring at you.
Then yeah. I say it loud enough for her to hear. She needs to get on her shit. But I'm also advocating for her, okay? I'm not saying she should be fired. I'm saying she needs an assistant. All right? I think that's pretty nice.
Believe it or not, at one point she was the best damn examiner you could find in the whole hold. But, I don't know, the past years have been rough on her. But I will say we do have another young man who's quite the intelligent one. Thinking of giving him a chance at, trying to learn from her at least.
Well, I have found that it is better to have multiple supports than to try to put too much weight on one strong thing. And I whisper in his ear, and I'm like, I'm sure she can be great again. She just needs a fucking vacation. God damn. Holy shit.
All right. Moving over to the next tent then.
Drink all that alcohol on a beach.
So, you approach this next tent, and this one's just about as large as the one that you were all just in. As you approach, you all just kind of get hit with that scent of decaying flesh, a bit of death lingering in the air, as the flaps on this guy are currently shut. Who would like to go in first?
Nah. Smells like Davokar.
A foreboding scent, indeed. Coral, did you just volunteer to go first?
Oh, yeah. Aggie has no problem with this.
All right, so as you're all approaching approaching this tent, you just see little Aggie shuffling as quickly as she can.
I am certain at this point that Aggie probably, she does. I'm not even going to say probably. As she shuffles up to the tent, Aggie reaches into her bag and pulls out a little jar with a paste in it. And she just takes out the paste and rubs a little bit under each nostril. And screws it up, or actually before she screws it up, she's going to offer it to the rest of you, and you will all notice that it smells a little bit like lavender. I find it it helps.
So I'll take it from Aggie and then offer it to Keen and Nrobso.
Get like a whole goop and just like.
Okay,
my
as soon as Aggie sees you start to dip your whole ass hand in, she takes the jar away and she applies it for you.
Okay, so for this, let's go ahead and have.
Oh, are we doing a PvP roll for that?
Yeah, I need both of you to be quick checks for me here, if you could.
Oh God.
See who gets to this guy first.
Can we say this is an initiative roll?
What?
It's okay if you're saying no, because
No,
I'm literally just sitting here trying to game. Because I can use my cunning as my quick if it's initiative. That's a big old fail.
All right, Nrobso, what did you do?
I got 16 out of 15.
16 out of 15. Oh, so you both just fail.
Yeah.
So I'll say is Nrobso, you get like up to like your first knuckle into this jar before Aggie's able to run over and grab onto this jar.
And Aggie just looks at the jar with these like 4 finger indents in it, and she's just like, she offers it to Ken.
Thank you. And I will just very gently like put some on.
Perfect. All right. Lavender applied. Moving into the tent. So as you enter into this tent, there's not a whole lot going on in it. There's 4 very large tables laid out, and there are obvious corpses covered up by blankets on each of them. Laying next to each of these bundled up corpses, though, you see what appears to just be a pile of loose skin. And along the back of the tent, there are 2 jars filled with some kind of liquid, and they both have just something floating in each of them. From where you're standing, you can't quite currently tell what it is.
Well, first off, real quick, game thing. I realize now that all of those notes stuff that I said I did in the last tent, I meant to do it in this tent.
Okay, fair enough.
I thought I was in this tent when I was doing it. So yeah, we're just gonna move that conversation to after this.
Perfect.
But Aggie's gonna investigate.
Okay. So going up, I'm assuming just moving down the line on these bodies.
Yep.
Okay.
Just checking everything out, double checking the notes, making sure it's thorough, accurate, consistent across the board with all of them.
Sure. So you go up to the first victim, and there's a little piece of parchment kind of hanging from his table there. It just says victim number 1, Garrick Trapper, by the Toad Square, north side of the beacon, 6 days ago. And as you
labels the dude.
Mm-hmm. And as you kind of approach this, kind of a bit of the body's kind of poking out from underneath the blanket, and you see it's just rotting muscle underneath this blanket, and laying next to them appears to be it almost looks like a human skin suit just laying there next to him. Moving on to victim number 2.
Aggie would also, I don't think she would like toss the blanket off, but she would 100% peek under the blanket.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a medicus check if you would.
Great. That is a 2 out of 15.
Damn. Okay. So yeah, looking at this individual, just a quick peek underneath, you see that the muscle tissue is definitely more deteriorated on this individual, but you can still make out the surgical lines that you had seen on Master Vernum removing the glands. They appear to match exactly on this victim as well. But one thing that you do also notice is looking at the size of this corpse and the size of the skin line next to him, it almost looks like it doesn't quite match, almost like the skin wouldn't have fit this individual.
God, Nate, are you really gonna make me fucking do this? All right. Aggie walks over to the fucking pile of skin. And she reaches into her well, first she looks around. Are there any gloves in here?
Yeah, I'll say there's some basic basic medical examiner gloves. Whatever.
Great, she's not gonna get hers dirty. She will borrow theirs. And yeah, she's gonna go put on the gloves, and she's just gonna, without saying a word to the rest of the party, she is literally going to lay the skin suit down on the table next to the dead body.
Okay, you all see this happening. Any actions from the rest of you as Aggie is laying out the skin?
Or are you all just looking on in disgust and shock and horror, as I would be?
Is there any like bags or like personal belongings or anything that seems to be attached to any of the bodies?
In this tent, you do not see anything like that. No.
All right. Are there any like drawers or medical equipment, supplies, medicine, anything like that in here?
In here, there's some basic bandages, a couple scalpels. You do see a couple jars that appear to have some kind of herbs in them.
I'm taking the jars.
Okay.
Yeah, just scoop them up. I don't even care where they are.
Okay.
Kovaan. Jars. I think you should take these jars, Kovaan.
I look over at Nrobso. Those are interesting. I will take a look at them. I will go over to where he is with the jars.
Okay, perfect. So you make your way over in that direction. And looking at them through the jars, these jars are fairly dirty and dusty, so it's kind of hard to see what these are exactly if you're just trying to look directly through the glass.
Do you want me to open? And like
I raise my hand. I'm like, let's not be hasty, Nrobso. We don't know what kind of wretched thing is in there. Can you wipe it down and still not see? Is there a light source to put it like between to see, or?
Directly in here, I mean, there's a couple of candles burning, but you can definitely take it outside to the sunlight if you want to.
Oh, sure.
Okay, perfect.
So, I motion to Nrobso. Let us go outside. Maybe the light will help us.
Okay. Can Nrobso be the one to hold up this jar?
Absolutely, my friend.
And I go right outside.
All right, so you could take the 2 jars outside. Pulling out the first one and taking a look at it, it appears to be a jar that's just got some spider wort in it. And then looking over at the other jar, this one appears to have some holly in it.
Oh. So I look over at Nrobso. A keen eye you have, my friend. I think Aggie and I would have use of this. Did he slyly do anything, or he just held it up where the captain saw everything?
He just right in the open. But as Nrobso goes back into the tent, I pick up like some twigs from the ground. And once I'm out of sight, I want to switch out the holly for these twigs just really quick.
Okay. So you empty the holly out of the jar, shoving some twigs down in it, and sealing it right back up. Go ahead and give me a discreet check, if you would.
And I'm going to use is this for hiding or stealing?
This is going to be for if you're trying to hide it out of view of everybody, so it'll be kind of a hiding check for you.
Then I will use my Shadow Spawn boon to add +1 to my discreet.
Nice.
A 2, and my discreet is 5.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so a couple guards do go walking by the tent. A couple of them kind of peek in, trying to take a look at what's going on. But Nrobso, you're so quick and sneaky that they don't even notice what's just happened to their jars in there.
Kovaan.
I look, and I give him kind of that impressed look.
All the guards are too distracted with Aggie playing with skin suits.
So as you lay the skin out, yeah, you can tell it's definitely a couple inches shorter than the body.
And is there a skin suit for everybody?
There is.
Aggie's going to sigh and match the skin suit to the body.
Aggie, are we getting these bodies dressed?
Aggie says, no, we're fixing the mistakes of other people.
Nrobso will help. Nrobso will help. And I start like grabbing skin suits, but like without any gloves, just strictly picking them up.
Yeah, as soon as she sees you go towards one without any gloves, she rushes towards you. Just wait.
Nrobso's only helping.
Yes, no, thank you. I just we don't know what is on these things, so protection first. As I go to a table and bring him over a pair of gloves.
Nrobso, I think what Aggie is saying is that you will get a shiny coin if you do this with those on. Right?
Absolutely.
Nrobso was told to collect the rings, not the coins.
You can do anything you want with this coin. You can use it to buy something. You can throw it at somebody's face. Don't do that. But you can do that too. The rings you have to keep secret and safe. That hasn't changed.
I will collect both. And I put on these floppy, like human gloves on a goblin hand. Just, where does this one go, Aggie?
Oh, we'll figure it out. And we
just
just go and
flapping.
No, yeah, literally, it's like I feel like we're trying to match like sheets. Like it's very morbid, but it's very like just getting it done, right?
Yeah. So I'll let you keep your medicus check from earlier because it was super high and you know what you're doing with this. So yeah, you take the skins and you match them all up. So it looks like the skin from body number 1 actually belongs to body number 2. The skin from body number 2 belongs to body number 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 1.
So close. So close.
While this is happening, is there any way that I could walk around? And of course, I have my little pendulum swinging. I want to see if I can sense any type of magical energy from any of the bodies, like any corruption specifically.
Ooh, excellent. Okay. You do not have a witch sight, do you?
That's a good question.
Is that
I do
this
not.
game's detect magic?
Essentially, yeah. Okay, so go ahead then and just give me a resolute check then, if you would.
Okay, I got a 3 out of 15. So yeah, 3 out of 15.
Okay. So yeah, as you're kind of walking the room, looking at these bodies, you do get a very, very, very faint hint of a very just you're just suddenly overcome with just this sense of dread and sickness, and you get the sense that it's not necessarily something that causes an individual to become corrupt, but you sense that this was all part of some kind of very violent and bloody ritual that could potentially be used in some kind of for some kind of mystic ability. However, it's not an ability that you're familiar with.
Oh dear. Aggie,
Yes.
is there any way of making sure that there are no marks on any of these bodies? I believe that they were used for some kind of ritual. At first I thought it was hungry, but now I think it's something very different.
And you think that is why the glands have been removed, huh? It does
I do.
seem to be very ritual. Oh. And yeah, Aggie does once more over all of the bodies, looking specifically for anything that Kin said she should look for.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and give me a vigilant check if you would.
That is 16 out of 11.
All right. Looking about, you don't see any type of odd markings aside from the surgical work on them.
The DM says with a sly smile. Yeah, I just go back to Kin and I'm like, nothing in addition to what we already know, but I do believe that you are on to something. Definitely.
I think that maybe we need to figure out wherever this Alahara person is and take care of him.
Yes. Yes. That does seem to be where the road points.
Mm-hmm.
But first, and she hobbles up to the fucking jars, which I assume are the first victims.
Right, they are labeled with those names.
And yeah, Aggie is gonna try and glean what she can from the jar.
Okay, give me another medicus check if you would.
Oh shit, that is a 16 out of 15.
All right, looking at them, I mean, you lift up the jars. You're trying to really try to make out anything. There might be muscle tissue floating in them, or it could be dirt, it could be blood, it could be mucky. You don't know. It's just there's so little left of these individuals that there's not much you can pull from this.
Great, love it. set it down, and I'm just like, gruesome.
Well, there might be some good news for you, Nrobso.
Yes.
Perhaps we can go visit Night Pitch's assistant and ask her a little bit more about what she knows about any rituals. And in the process, we would have an excuse to potentially bargain with Night Pitch.
Nrobso likes the sound of this plan.
And it's around this time. If everybody could please give me a vigilance check.
Hey, Nate, can
Yes.
we revisit that vigilant that I threw in the wrong tent?
Yes, of course. So you're looking
Agithe?
for specific items or anything that looked out of place on that body.
Agithe.
Agithe. Okay, perfect. From what you can tell, and you really take your time skimming and looking over every inch, every muscle fiber, looking for anything at all, and you don't see anything out of the ordinary, item wise, marking wise, nothing.
Thank you.
No problem. And then vigilance checks from everybody.
2 out of 12.
Okay.
I passed 5 out of 7.
Okay.
6 out of 11.
Okay.
Big no.
Big no. Okay. So Kovaan, you're kind of too focused in on really examining this body. The rest of you hear what sounds like a rush of footsteps just hitting a dirt road, and they're getting louder and louder. And you kind of hear somebody calling out, "Captain, Captain!" And you hear Marvelo just kind of, "What? Huh? There's been another murder." Marvelo just let out this big sigh. All right. Where was it?
Aggie immediately appears from the tent and is at the captain's side.
Right. Pretty spry for an old thing, aren't you?
Nrobso's also there, but walks like between his legs and looks up.
What?
Kovaan has the slow boon. I'm sorry, not boon, burden. So I'm just like walking with Kovaan slowly from the tent.
Why do I always get stuck with the odd ones? I'm sorry, and Keen, you recognize as the messenger who had left earlier has just made his way back in here. Yes, another skinned victim by the stables, just on the outskirts of the Toad Square. Oh, fuck. All right. He kind of looks back behind him, and back in the tent, you see the corpse examiner just passed out at this point, just sitting on a bench, just hunched down onto the table. Hey, guys. Could you...
Aggie just nods.
That's
And-
appreciated.
Aggie. And like I just kind of like dart my eyes from you to Nrobso, from you to Nrobso.
Aggie looks at Kin and says, I do hope that we get a chance to look at a victim immediately fresh, and hopefully
well.
the killer is not far off.
No chances.
And Nrobso looks at Captain Marvelo and says,
We will examine this body on one condition. You deduct their pay,
and he points to the medical examiner,
and you give it to us.
Give me a persuasion roll, Nrobso.
if this is a social challenge, I have disadvantage. So here we go.
Beautiful.
Oh, wait, what's that? Okay. And then, okay. Oh, it doesn't matter. 10 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
I did hit a 1 and I got really excited, but disadvantage, so.
Look here, buddy. I'll make sure you're all compensated for the work you've done here. But don't tell me how to pay my subordinates.
I'm sure that you understand, but Nrobso is very excitable and certainly did not mean it that way, and we absolutely appreciate your work to get us compensated.
Shall we?
Laerke kind of steps forward and, hey, do we really trust the guard with our cart here, or should I keep an eye on things? I don't mind.
Aggie gives Laerke a nice big pat on the shoulder and says, "Would you be so kind?"
Of course, just scream really loud if you get into danger.
Oh, absolutely. But I think we'll be fine.
Nrobso will bring you back a souvenir.
Just make sure it's not the fleshy type.
No promises.
And before we like right as we're hobbling off, Aggie is going to go up to the captain and give him a nice little pat on the shoulder and be like, maybe if that young man is around, you can call for him and send him along to assist, and maybe I can get his education started.
You know, that's actually not a bad idea. I believe he's out at the moment, but I'll send him your way if he makes it back.
Wonderful. We will meet him there.
Please stop giving services for free.
Oh,
We
poor
will be
Nrobso.
compensated. It is okay.
So, the four of you make your way over towards the stables, which once again, they're kind of near the Toad Square, more so on like the southeastern side of it. So not quite a part of the square itself, but just kind of right on that border. And as you make your way over there, you see a young Ambrian woman, long dark hair, just wearing this beautiful blue dress, just kind of standing there, very, very shaken, just kind of pacing back and forth, right out in front of these stables.
Aggie's got honestly, Aggie did not hand over the notes. Aggie has brought the notes with her. If this is what happened, and she's got the notes out, and she's immediately hobbles right on up to the woman and first things first, does the woman's hair color match?
No.
The hair. Great.
Hers is significantly darker than what you've seen. And at this point, too, as you all approach, you also begin to see kind of crowds of people begin to make their way over as well, trying to look through and see what's going on. But at this time, too, you see about a half dozen of Night Pitch's men come in as well, and they kind of begin pushing the crowds back. One of them approaches, "Hey, are you here to investigate?"
Yes.
Night Pitch had said there were some freelancers around, so just try to be quick before this crowd gets out of control, if you don't mind.
Yes, we will do what we can. We know what we're looking for at this point.
Leggies, blue dress. And I
Blue
point to the
dress?
blue dress woman. Is this the same woman we saw earlier?
Is it Lillian?
It is not Lillian.
I don't believe so, Nrobso.
I'll keep a fresh goblet of ale nearby, just in case.
Excellent. Yes.
Yeah, Aggie is on the ground examining the body, looking for gland, any fingers removed, because this is the first body after Master Vernum, right?
That you're aware of, yes.
Great. So at this point, Aggie is also going to be looking at the fingers too, to see if that's a progression in killing style or if Master Burnham just had like an expensive ring or some shit.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, looking at this body, no check required immediately. You see all fingers are intact.
Cool.
But what you do notice immediately on this body, it still has its skin. And as you approach, you see just large pools of blood. And give me, if you would, a vigilance check, and anybody else who's kind of over in this area as well, who's also looking at the body, if you'd like to make vigilance checks.
If I'm
Yeah,
looking
I
at
wanna-
the body, can I make a medicus check?
Yeah, I'll allow that.
Yeah, and I
Great.
wanna
That's
look for tracks.
big difference.
Okay, for sure.
I'm looking at the crowd, Nate.
Okay.
Somebody that just doesn't look inquisitive, more like looking who's doing what.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah. I also kind of want to try and investigate around. I want to see if I think anyone might be a changeling.
Okay, definitely. So what's everybody's vigilance checks or your medicus check, Coral? So let's start with Aggie here.
9 out of 15.
9 out of 15. Okay, so looking at this body, the blood is fresh, the skin's fully intact, but you do notice that the glands are missing. But what you do see too is with these cuts, they're significantly more rough compared to the other bodies. The other bodies were very clean, very surgical. This job looks rushed to you. Nrobso, what did you get with your vigilance check?
17 out of 12.
All right, so you see pools of blood. You see a lot of different tracks from horses, from carts, from many, many different people who walk through here. Not quite picking up on anything specific there. Kovaan looking through the crowd as well as Keen. What were your vigilance checks, please?
I
2
got
out
a
of
7
9.
out of 7.
7 out of 7 in Kovaan?
2 out of 9.
2 out of 9. Okay, perfect. So Keen, looking through this crowd, you specifically would kind of know almost the body language of a changeling. You would know that, what one would look like when they're trying to hide themselves and blend in. Doing a very good, thorough scan of this crowd, none of them look like changelings to you. Kovaan, you don't see in the crowd itself too many people that look like they're being a bit suspicious. You stare off at them for a moment, but then you start to see a couple of them kind of begin to get shoved and pushed over to the sides. And at this point, you can all see 2 individuals kind of leading the way through, walking side by side, each of them wearing black cloaks with that same brooch on them. Behind them, you see a very large individual standing over 6 feet tall, significantly more built than the 2 in front of him. Long dark hair, black cloak, that same brooch. And you see him holding a rope, pulling along another young, this looks like a young man, maybe 17, 18 years old. His hand's currently tied up in front of him. And these 4 rather, begin pushing their way through the crowd. And they approach the guard, and the guard just kind of, they step aside and let him through. And looking at them, you guys recognize the 2 smaller individuals as the Black Cloaks from earlier. And then the large individual who you have not formally met yet.
Hello.
Oh.
You must be Balmello?
You heard of me?
I think most people have heard of your ingenious work.
You must be the travelers from earlier, yes? My men had mentioned a goblin, a wise woman gesturing towards Agithe.
Smart choice of words.
And a couple of well-traveled individuals. Well, let me first apologize for the actions of these two. They tend to get out of hand. They're more so used to villages riddled with corruption just along the borders of Davokar. It's their first times in a larger hold such as this. Isn't that right, you two? And you see both of them just kind of not even wanting to make eye contact with you. You can tell that there's a lot of tension, like they want to try something, but they're not going to in front of this guy. Well, I'm here to assist in the investigation, as you four are. Tell me, have any of you spoken to the witness yet?
Not yet.
Then allow me. And you see him begin to walk towards the woman. And as he passes by, you see him also whisper to the young man that's tied up at this time.
Can we tell who that dude is?
The young individual, he's not someone that you've seen before, no.
Okay, cool.
And Bamela makes his way over to the guard, or to the woman standing there, and you begin to hear them just talk amongst themselves.
He is not going to let him do that by himself.
Okay, for sure. If you want to make your way over, you certainly may.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go over, and I mean, you are, how tall is Aggie?
Oh, Aggie, let me see. What did I write down? Because if I don't say what I wrote down, the answer will change. 5'3".
5'3", yeah. So this guy has a good 1.5 feet on you at least. So he just towers over you.
That's fine.
Oh, at least this will help us keep our details straight if two of us listen in.
Well, Aggie just shows him the book of witness testimony and says, yes, I figure I should keep all of the records together. It makes sense, right? Flips over to a new page and writes number 7 up the top.
All right. And as you're standing there too, you notice that he's still holding on to the end of the rope. And the young man, he kind of, his hand's still tied, just walks over towards the other three of you, standing there staring in your direction, very meticulously just scanning you all up and down. And as he's looking at you, Keen, would you please describe the color of your shadow that he sees as he's staring at you?
Oh no. It is white with frayed black around it.
All right. So as he's looking at you, your silhouette is almost like just this ethereal, glowing, neutral white color, and then around you he sees the ripping and tearing white aura with the black edges. And then he directs his attention towards you, Kovaan. Kovaan, would you please describe your shadow as he looks at you?
Oh, he would see a green glow. It's pretty distinct.
Same thing, looking at you, your silhouette's just kind of in this ethereal form. He just sees this bright green glow about you. Focuses down onto you, Nrobso. Nrobso, what color does he see when he looks at your shadow?
It's also green, but it's very shifty, and it's shifty and frayed, so it's just constantly moving, and just on the edges, just keeps fraying, like pulsing all over and around.
And as he's scanning all of you, moving one direction to the next, his eyes just kind of lock on the Keen. And as that happens, Pomelo and Agithe getting ready to speak to the witness, and we will get back to that when we get back from our quick break here. So, give us about 10-15 minutes or so, y'all. We're going to go rehydrate, do what we got to do, and we will see you all very, very shortly. Thanks for sticking around. See you soon. And welcome back. Thank you all for sticking around. Our wonderful, wonderful explorers here are ready to take on the next challenges of this adventure. So, Agithe, you are standing next to this 6'10" individual. Looking at him, you see he's just got this big ass sword across his back, still holding on tightly to that other individual. But you have the woman before you, and Vomelo just kind of looks down towards you. Ask away.
Oh, of course. Thank you. And Aggie, immediately, like, Aggie is not having this conversation about this woman in front of this woman, you know? So like, so she goes ahead and she approaches and, puts her hand out and say, Miss, I'm here to help and to write down anything you may have seen. I understand that you have seen something pretty horrific here, and I understand, and I need to take down some information if that's all right with you.
Oh, yeah, of course. Anything I can do to help.
Of course, thank you. So first off, do you know the victim?
Yeah, he was a young stable boy. I mean, not to sound rude or anything, but I mean, as far as I'm aware, he wasn't well known. Just another employee of the stable, I guess you could say.
For record purposes, do you know the boy's name?
Yes. No, you're okay. His name was Lyle.
Lyle. Okay, thank you. And so Lyle, did you come across his body, or were you witness to the attack?
No, so I was actually just around the block doing a patrol. I'm actually one of the guard as well.
Would I have noticed that from her guard?
No, she's not wearing her armor, but as she says that and kind of points in the direction, you can see that all of her like leather vestments and stuff are just on the ground at this time.
Okay, cool. She took them off because she was too stressed.
Yeah, I had heard the fight. I was around the corner. I heard screaming, some kind of fight happening. I ran around the corner, sword drawn, to try to see what was happening, and I saw this individual just standing over this body, carving into him. When I screamed at him to halt, you're probably not going to believe me, but he stood above the body, turned towards me, and the second his face turned, he looked like me. My face exactly. I dropped my sword. I tried to scream for help. I froze. And whoever that person was took off on foot.
Aggie's going to very gently put a hand on her shoulder, and if she flinches, moves away, anything, she will pull back, and she'll only do it if the girl's receptive, and but she's going to say, I absolutely believe you, and I thank you so much for your bravery and for telling us this. Is there anything else that we need to know? Did you see any, were there any other witnesses? Anybody running away from the scene? Anybody else who might have information?
Not that I saw. This area of town's usually pretty vacant at this time of day. He appeared to just be out cleaning the stables like normal. I think the killer took off towards the square, Toad Square, but I could be wrong. Yeah, and at this point, you see Bomelo very clearly tug on the rope, and this individual comes walking back over in your direction. Bomelo just kind of leans down, and you see something gets whispered in his ear. And at this point, Keen, you see Bomelo look up in your direction and just smile before turning back. Well, what do you think, Miss? Good information
there. I'm so sorry. Say again. I've lost some hearing in this ear, and she stretches her neck upwards.
I said, did you get any good information?
Oh, yes. Much, honestly. Well, so, and after examining the body, the cut marks on this body, well, there are many differences. First, this is the first body that is not skinned. It is the only body that has its skin still attached. So that, first and foremost, is very curious. Secondly, the cuts, the glands were still removed. However, the cuts were very rushed. They were, on all of the other bodies, they were surgical, precise. I could not have done them better in my prime. And from the woman's testimony, it does seem like perhaps her presence is the cause of those two things. The killer may have intended to do the same things, but was unable to complete. So, with all of that being said, then also the woman said that as soon as the figure turned her way, she saw the figure look exactly like her, which leads us to believe. I mean, we can only assume. And then she flips back through her notes and says, now, I have been wondering, and I do know that you, sir, have expertise in corruption and the dark arts, or knowledge of. I don't suggest you practice it by any means. I'm so sorry.
Of course not.
But you know about these things, correct?
I know about certain things. What are you trying to get at here?
Well, at this point, now there have been 7 victims. The first 2 have been assigned to one killer. The second 4 have been assigned to the Flayer, and then we have this latest one, which I would, if I were the county examiner, assign to the Flayer as well, just under the circumstances that I just outlined. Now, in the testimony, going all the way back to the first victim, I have found that the first and second victims were murdered and completely shredded by a giant hulking mass of what I assume to be corrupted energy.
Some kind of abomination.
Some form of abomination, exactly.
Hmm.
Do you know if an abomination of that sort would be able to gain the willpower or control to be able to shapeshift and walk among men? Is that a possibility? Or are we looking at two different killers and we should set aside these first two?
Well, to me, I would imagine it's two separate individuals. Now, it's not impossible for those who have been fully corrupt to suppress it. However, to do so takes much willpower, and it doesn't last forever. Not unless another ritual of some sort is completed to remove that corruption. Rituals like that do exist, but to do one this powerful, I don't know. I've also heard rumors of a corrupted artifact making its way here to the hold.
Aggie, as soon as he says ritual, Aggie just smiles a big ol' smile, and just starts nodding. And it's like, yes, it's very, very interesting that you say that. You see, we have, as a group, come up with the hypothesis that perhaps these glands are being used in a ritual. I wonder if these murders keep happening because this creature needs to continue performing this ritual. I wonder if these first two murders were their attempt at gaining the required ingredients to perform the ritual, and then once they performed it, they were then able to shapeshift and perfect their murders. Then they murder so much and so consistently because they need to continue performing the ritual in order to maintain their form. And Aggie is getting really excited at this point because she's like, bingo!
That's quite the theory you have going there.
But it makes sense, does it not?
I suppose it does. But when you're talking about corruption, the pieces don't always fall together so cleanly. Excuse me a moment. And he looks over towards the other two Black Cloaks, who you see kind of investigating the stables and the body as well. They're not moving the body in any way, but they're definitely kind of over there looking down at it. And you see Bomellas go, "Have you found anything?" Well, we got looks like a trail of footprints, sir. Interesting. Well, would appear our killer isn't so great at hiding his tracks.
Aggie just looks at him and says, "Shall we?"
Why don't you four go on? You seem capable. I'll stay here and help with the cleanup. We'll join you shortly.
Oh, what? I from my previous interaction with your friends, I have the feeling that they would enjoy a investigation of this sort.
Give me a persuasion roll if you would.
10 out of 10.
Fine. You two. Lead the way. Let's go. Where's the killer, shall we?
And Aggie hobbles along, but that bitch, she has that staff and she is hobbling real quick.
All right.
She's keeping up.
Kovaan, Keen, and Nrobso, anything from you three at this time? As you see Bomelo, the Black Cloaks, and Agithe begin to follow this trail.
I'm going to look over at Keen. He knows, doesn't he?
Oh, but we can't abandon Aggie with them. Heaven forbid.
Cannot.
No. We can't.
Nrobso, are you coming?
And as they look down, I'm just going through pockets of this dead corpse, seeing what I can find.
You are mooted, DM.
You do not find anything on this body. Just empty pockets.
I was hoping for more rings. Yes, Aggie is very important to protect. Laerke would not approve of Nrobso's absent-mindedness.
And I follow.
Okay. So you all make your way following Bomelo and these two Black Cloaks, making your way back over towards the Toad Square. And you follow these footprints to the small warehouse just opposite side of the, or not opposite, right next to these salons of Symbaroum. And it looks like these footprints make their way directly into this building, which I'll show you now. So,
Oh my god, is this our first battle map?
so you are all kind of entering in from this area here. So we have Mr. Bomelo leading the charge there with his two Black Cloaks. And the five of you kind of in tow back here at this time. So, as you all see, the footprints kind of lead back here to this building. And everybody give me a vigilance check if you would.
I failed. I got a 10 out of 7.
Aggie is too excited about the battle map and failed.
11
5 out
out
of
of
9,
12.
Nate.
11 out of 9. Okay, any successes on that, Nrobso?
Yeah, 11 out of 12.
Okay,
Or
perfect.
5 out of 9.
And 5 out of 9. All right. So Kovaan and Nrobso, as you guys are approaching this area, you hear what sounds like almost coming from kind of back in this direction, this loud, piercing screech that just rings throughout the air. You see the front door of this building fly open. And standing before you, you see an individual who looks like Master Vernum. And he sees all of you standing there. Fuck.
Uh-oh.
You see him just grab up onto a scalp, peeling his hair, his skin, everything off,
Uh-oh.
revealing
Uh-oh.
a blood-covered, brown-haired changeling standing there. He takes a few steps forward And from behind him, you see another individual come stumbling out of this building, grasping onto his sides, coughing up blood in just this thick black ichor. And you see him just kind of reach forward, and you hear him say, Alahara. And you see the changeling putting his back towards you, facing this individual on the ground. You hear Alahara say, I'm so sorry, my love. I failed you. As the person on the ground is just rolling in pain, you see bones begin to just pierce through his skin, his limbs just lengthening, his skin just turning this blue and red as it just stands up, is now standing about 6.5 feet tall.
Wow.
You see at the end of his hands, his fingers, just these sharp bone claws begin to come out of each finger. And he looks at this changeling before him and just begins shredding into it. And in just a few moments, that changeling is shredded to nothing. The creature lets out this loud shriek once again and is now facing all of you. Let's jump into some initiative here if we could.
Wow.
Nathan, that's so sad. They loved each other.
What I need is everybody's quick scores.
15
9.
from Nrobso.
Nrobso's
I have a 9.
Keen with a 9. Okay.
Kovaan is a 10.
Kovaan with a 10 for your quickness. Okay. And Agithe?
You actually can have my cunning score, which is a 15.
A 15. Perfect. Now, what is your vigilance score, Agithe?
11.
And Nrobso, what is your vigilance score?
12.
Well, okay, so Nrobso, you will go first. So, yeah, fun for our audience. Instead of rolling initiative, everybody has a quick score, and whoever's got the highest, they move first. So, as this creature steps out, making its presence known, you all standing there, you see Bamello just kind of smile for a moment. Not withdrawing his weapon, just staring at this creature. However, at this point, it is Nrobso's go. What would you like to do?
I pull out my my axe and my dagger, and I look at Kovaan and I go,
Kovaan, is this how Nrobso dies?
and I just charge in, and I use a twin attack.
Before he
perfect.
charges in, I look at him and answer him and go, this might be where Kovaan does.
All right, so Nrobso, you're just running head on right directly at this thing?
Yeah.
Perfect. So you push through everybody, making your way right up to it. Go ahead and make your attack roll. So this is going to be an accurate, and you actually have a +2 to this roll because this creature has no armor on, very little defenses, making him easier to hit.
Okay. Oh, I got a 1. Yo, boy.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead and roll the damage on that.
So that would be this one and this one. So that's a 6. 12 total.
A 12 total. Okay.
Mhm.
Perfect. So as you go running in with your weapons drawn, trying to slash into this thing, even though it's not wearing armor, as your blades hit, its flesh almost feels like rock, and you're just not quite cutting into him at all. You pull both your weapons back, expecting to be some kind of blood. There's nothing right now.
Uh-oh.
Next up, we are going to move on to Agithe.
All right. Upon seeing this, And then just real quick question. Movement speed. How do I know how far I can move?
So movement is equal to your quick score.
Cool. So if my quick is a 6, would I be able to get up to behind Nrobso and then get back behind the group?
Let's see. I'll say you get up to Nrobso and then you could certainly start making your way back, but you wouldn't quite be able to make it all the way back behind the group.
Okay, cool. Great. I am going to go ahead and I'm gonna look at the big, what would I call him, the douchebag, the Balmello.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at Balmello, and I am going to take out a vial and say, it looks like we may need a little extra. Would you like something on your sword?
I'm not going to turn that down. And he holds his blade out.
Great. Free action. I use my poisoner ability to sprinkle some poison on that sword.
Perfect.
And you only get one free action a turn, correct?
Correct. Unless you score a critical on somebody, then that would give you another free action. Or not a critical, but knock somebody down to a certain toughness.
Yeah, I'm like, LOL, we avoided our first combat. Yeah, and Aggie is... That dead body is now completely ripped to shreds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beyond recognition.
Great. Aggie is going to go hide in a corner.
All right, so you run up, adding your poison on there and begin backing your way towards...
Oh, sorry, because that was how I was doing it.
Gotcha.
I gave Balmello poison instead.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so you're next to Balmello. You can try to kind of move over here towards the salon if you want to. You can try to get back behind these crates here if you want to.
We'll go back towards the salon.
Back towards the salon. Okay, perfect. So we'll kind of put you back here in that area. Excellent. Okay, moving on from Agithe, we've got, let's see, Kovaan, what is your vigilance score, please?
That would be a 9.
A 9, okay. And the creature has a 10, so the creature is going to go next. Now seeing this interesting little green creature coming at it with a dagger and an axe, you see this creature just reel back, its claws extended. It's going to try to hammer down into Nrobso. So Nrobso, I need you to make a defense check with a -3.
I got a 20.
A 20, okay. So as its claws come down, you're going to take 10 points of damage, but you still get to roll your armor against this.
Mm-hmm. Just the one?
Just one, so you take 9 points of damage. As this claw just comes down, piercing down into your side and ripping through. You just feel the blood begin to seep out through your wounds. And what is your pain threshold, Nrobso?
Oh, how dare you? Is that a 7?
Okay, so you're at 10 hit points, so it's not quite down to that yet, so you are still okay. However, that is its go. Next up, we will move on to Kovaan.
All right, so our little friend seems to be in a pickle. So I would like to try and use one of my abilities. I would like to try to use Entangling Vines.
Okay.
I have to roll a successful resolute test. And it has that thing where it says resolute less than strong test.
Okay, so you're rolling against its strength.
I'm sorry, until the mystic fails it. So I have to roll an initial one first.
Okay, and then you roll to maintain it. Gotcha.
Okay, got it.
Yep, so go ahead and roll.
I rolled a 9 out of 15.
Okay, perfect. So as you're pointing towards this creature, gathering your mystical powers, what do these vines look like as they come and entangle this individual?
So these are gonna, since Nrobso's over there, they're not gonna be anything poisonous or anything. They're just gonna be typical ivy, but the viney part is gonna be a little thicker. Okay. And I'm gonna raise my staff in front and hold it and look at that thing and pull my hands together and just chant encircle.
All right. And Nrobso, as you're up fighting this thing, all of a sudden you see these large vines break up through the cobblestone, beginning to wrap around this creature, pulling him down ever so slightly. And you see it just begin to try to struggle to break out. Anything else for you, Kovaan?
I am gonna move back towards where Aggie is, because I'm just a witch.
All right, we'll see you can get to right about there. Okay, perfect. Next up, it is going to be Bomelo. So, Bomelo is going to draw his poisoned sword out and begin marching his way up towards this creature that's currently entangled. So, he's able to get up to it here, right next to Nrobso. Now, who wants to roll for Bomelo for me? Nrobso, you'll be on my roller here for this. So Nrobso, go ahead and give me, just roll me a d20 for me.
3.
3, okay, perfect. So yeah, he definitely hits with his sword, swinging it down between the vines, cutting into this thing. So that's going to be some damage there. Okay. So, and what's the poison damage on that, Agithe?
That is such a good question. That I should know. I have to roll a cunning test to see if it takes effect though first.
Okay, go ahead and make that check.
Yeah, that is a 6 out of 15, and it's affected by his strong.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, 6 out of 15. I don't know what.
His strong is not very good.
Cool.
So let me see here. Yeah, so that'll definitely take effect there.
Sweet. And goods and services. Boop, 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 boop. Poison. Weak poison. 1d4 damage each turn for 1d4 turns.
Okay, perfect.
So let's see. Let's get out the d4 that we. D4 we want. God damn it. We have special dice made for this character. By our wonderful friend. All right. We're not going to have you sit here waiting too long, and we're just going to roll a dice then. That's going to fall elsewhere. 3 poison damage for 3 turns.
Nrobso, you see Bomelo charging in with the sword, cutting into this individual. His sword kind of breaks the skin ever so slightly, and you do see some of the poison drip in, but it doesn't look like he's done a whole hell of a lot of damage to it. Next up is going to be Kin.
All right, so I see Balmello, and I'm a little nervous, so I'm gonna try and like keep them behind me. And like I also have my bow in like my hand to make it look like I was just shooting these off, but I'm gonna cast storm arrow,
Okay.
which is going to create 5 arrows that are going to float next to me, but I'm kind of trying to keep them a little bit like behind me. And then I can cast one this round, and then I can cast one as a free action after this round.
Okay, perfect. So as you bring out these storm arrows, what do they look like as they're floating around you?
So my storm arrows are like almost wooden, covered in vines, but they have like these crackling white lights at the tip.
Excellent. All right,
And I'm
so
gonna-
those are now floating about you. Would you like to expend one, or are you holding on to them for now?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
going to spend one at the creature. It will hit the target automatically. It normally deals 1d6 damage.
Okay, go ahead and roll the damage on that.
3.
3 points. Okay. Excellent, excellent. So, yeah, your arrow goes flying through, hitting right into this creature. You see this little spark of electricity as it strikes through. It doesn't appear to pierce through the skin, but it definitely looks slightly taken back by it. Anything else you would like to do?
No.
Okay. Next up are going to be the other two, which are the Black Cloaks here, who are both going to charge their way on up, kind of beginning to surround this creature. So Nrobso, go ahead and roll me 2 d20s again.
All right, give me a sec. Just good to get that first one out. Let's say 12 and 13.
Okay, perfect. So both of those will hit. 8 points of damage. Not quite taking damage. So yeah, they both come charging through, just swinging, trying to get down into this creature. Doing a little bit of damage, but not a whole hell of a lot, piercing through this guy's skin. Next up, though, we're back to the top with Nrobso. What would you like to do?
So I'm gonna reattach my my axe and my dagger, and I want to do this. I'm gonna do this move where I plant my hands on the ground, and in like a sweeping motion, I'm sending both of my legs to maybe knock off one of the legs so I can make this thing trip up and go prone.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. What do you need for that? Same thing.
Yeah, go ahead and just give me an attack roll for this here. We'll see what we can work out.
A 13 out of 14.
13 out of 14. Yeah, so that'll definitely work. So go ahead and roll the damage on that.
That is a 4.
4. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with that first attack, trying to sweep his leg up, you hit kind of right on this creature's shin, but your blade is just not catching on anything, not going through. As you try to sweep up, you unfortunately just get nowhere with it.
And then I'm doing my movement, and I go back to Aggie. Aggie.
These weapons are no good to me.
And that's it.
Okay, perfect. Moving on. Aggie, it is your go.
Question. I have an action and a free action?
Correct.
Ah! So Aggie, first, sees Nrobso run up to her and is all like, yes, wonderful. But first, after seeing that giant hit he took, she immediately takes some herbs out of her pouch and starts to grind them together in her hands to make as much of a paste as possible. And as soon as he gets there, she just immediately starts smearing it all over his biggest wound.
Okay.
And I am going to hope that I heal you pretty well with that. I get to roll a d6 when using an herbal cure, but I can only do this once per patient per day, and it's a 3.
So you heal 3 points, Nrobso.
Yeah, 3 points of toughness. And she says, I don't have enough to do that many more times. Don't get hit. And then she just grabs another flask from her side, soaks it, like puts it on a rag, and coats his axe and his dagger real quick, and is like, get in there.
Excellent. All right. Next up is the creature who is going to try to break through these vines that have it tangled up. So, Kovaan, I need a resolute check. However, it's going to be at a -5.
So in this game, rolling 1 is good, and I rolled a 1.
Holy shit, yeah. So this creature just tries to begin ripping through your vines, but you're just keeping your hand clenched and you pull it right back down. It is currently stuck where it's at. That is all it can do. Kovaan, it is your go.
All right, so I got a thing called Strangler. It says the novice strangler may attack when at an advantage. Is this considered advantage?
I would say so, because he's surrounded by 3 black cloaks and is tangled up by vines. So I would definitely.
Okay. It doesn't say for the initial thing what I'm supposed to do. It only says what happens after.
Okay, what does it say for after?
So it says the character maintains a stranglehold with a successful cunning arrow to the left, cunning.
Okay.
But in front of that, it just says a successful attack deals 1d6. So am I rolling against cunning at advantage?
That's to maintain it. So this would be, because this is a power for you, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So it would be a resolute check to see if you could get the strangle.
Okay.
Well, so you're using just the regular strangler ability, right?
Oh,
ability, yeah.
Ability.
Yeah, so like I think the way it's written is meant for somebody to like come out of the shadows and like strangle somebody and like drag them back. But like I love this application of it, strangling them with the vines. That's so freaking cool.
Let's see.
But yeah, like if you read it, it may take some finagling to apply it to this situation.
Yeah, I didn't quite get how you apply the initial, because it doesn't really say.
Yeah, so once you get to the more advanced levels, then you could start using it applied on different things.
Okay.
So at this point, you would have to physically run up and strangle it with your
Oh,
hand.
I have to run up and do it. Is there enough movement to run back?
No, you would get up to it and you could begin working your way back, but unfortunately, you couldn't quite go the full.
Okay, because I don't really have many things to do. So let's see. Successful on that check. Other than that, I only have a crossbow.
Still a crossbow.
So I guess I will try the crossbow.
Okay, go
Sorry,
ahead.
game. This is new.
No, you're totally
No.
good. Make a.
I love that idea, and straight up, I am going to try and like rules lawyer with Nathan after session to see if we can get this to happen, because honestly, the visual.
It was a good
of
combo,
watching-
right?
It is.
Yeah, watching like the vines come out of the ground and then like just watching one of the vines like snake across their throat. Like, that's beautiful. That's stunning.
At novice level, you can't, but once you get to the higher levels, you could certainly do
Got
that.
it.
If you were taking
Got it.
Love it.
And give me an accurate check with your crossbow. And you'll have a +2 to this roll, or to your base ability rather.
Okay. So that would be a 13 out of 13.
Yeah, so that'll definitely hit. So go ahead and roll the damage for that.
All right. So that one is 1d10, which is cool because you never get to roll a 1d10. Let's see here. All right. I got 5.
5. Okay, perfect. So yeah, your arrow goes flying through, hitting into this creature, but the second the arrow hits, it just splinters away. Doesn't appear to pierce through.
Ooh.
Next up is going to be Bomelo. So Nrobso, go ahead and roll me a d20 if you would.
Another 3. This guy's good. This guy's good.
So yeah, that's gonna hit. So he pierces through with his sword, and then Agithe, go ahead and roll the poison on that for me too, please. Poison damage.
Okay. I roll the poison damage each round. It doesn't do the flat 3 each time.
You just do the flat 3. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Fine with that.
If I had rolled a 1, I probably would not have asked that question, but you know.
No, from here on out, we'll just say it's the flat, whatever you roll first. Perfect. So he slashes through, and you see this creature kind of begin to tire out a little bit. And in that moment, Bomelo sees an extra opportunity. He's going to take another attack towards it. So Nrobso, give me another roll.
14.
14, so that'll still hit. So that's going to be perfect. So this thing is now starting to look beat up as it's struggling against these vines, just getting cut into, the poison taking effect. However, it is now Keen's turn. What would you like to do, Keen?
All right, I'm going to fire off another one of my arrows.
Okay, perfect.
And that's only going to do a measly 2 damage.
2 damage. Okay. So yeah, that one goes flying through, kind of just bouncing off the skin, not quite taking effect. Anything else you would like to do?
I might want to stay moved back and maybe just a little bit obscured by my comrades.
Okay, for sure. So I'll say you kind of move back over in this direction a little bit here. All right, excellent. Next up is going to be the other 2 Black Cloaks. So Nrobso, please roll me a couple more d20s if you would.
A 16 and a 4.
Okay, the 4 will hit. Unfortunately, his axe isn't that great, so he's kind of just grazing off the skin of this thing, just trying to cut through, getting very, very frustrated. But we are back to the top with Nrobso. What would you like to do?
So I turn at Aggie and go,
I'll never get hit again.
and I want to run. I'm going to use my first movement. And hold on, put a pin in that. As I said, first movement. I want to run up to those boxes and get to that second one, tallest one.
Okay.
And I'm jumping off of that and bringing my axe straight down on top of the middle head of the Flayer thing.
Jesus. Okay. Give me some attack rolls here.
$11 out of 14.
Okay. Yeah, that'll hit.
And that is using my axe, which is a +1 to attack, so that is a total of 6.
Okay, perfect. +3 poison damage, correct?
Plus poison. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, so
Or
this
is
is going to be on a
this is
different enemy,
different.
so this is
Yeah.
a new one.
Okay, so go ahead and roll me the poison damage for that.
Or yeah, different application for it. So once again, it's 3 damage
Jeez, okay.
for 2 turns.
Okay, so with that, Nrobso, as you jump down on this creature that's just struggling to break these vines and get away, bringing your axe down, would you please describe how you dispatch this abomination for us?
So I jump up, and it's just like my knees are bent, and I'm just coming straight down. And we're talking like a 4'2", 119 pound, using all of his strength and might, coming down and slashing right in the middle of his skull, and the axe actually jams right into the back of its neck. Like it slices down and just comes to a stop right there. And as it's falling, I'm falling down on top of it, and I roll out of it, pulling my axe out of it.
All right, and just like that, you see Bamello and the two Black Cloaks. It's almost like time pauses for you, Nrobso. So as you see your opportunity, just jumping up in the air, and they're all just kind of staring up at you like, what the fuck is this thing? Holy shit, as you just bury down on top of this creature, splitting its face in two, doing your roll off of it. The creature at this point has fallen and is dead. Bamello just kind of looks towards you. Not bad for a little guy.
Aggie just hollers out from the back, not bad for anyone.
Nrobso does not die today.
And you see Bamello just kind of look towards the other two Black Cloaks. You two search the warehouse. And the two of them run inside this building back here.
It's also worth noting that I would have dropped my spell before they had turned around.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, as he's kind of focused on telling them to go and investigate, your spell fizzles out. Actions from the rest of you at this point.
Hobble up and confirm that this is the first killer. Yeah, she's gonna start talking, going over the story with Bamello.
Okay. So yeah, as you're kind of looking at this creature, looking at the remains of Alahara, you're pretty damn confident this is the same thing that shredded the other two individuals up.
Yeah. So I'm gonna flip to the first two testimonies, show it to him, and say, it looks pretty clear to me.
Indeed it does. But why were the glands missing?
Well, it seems like she closes the book. Well, actually, no, sorry, she doesn't close the book. She instead flips to the last, to the page after the latest victim, and writes number 8 and number 9.
Perfect.
And under number 8, she writes, and she says, it seems these two were in a relationship from their last words spoken. My love, I failed you. It seems this one, as I point to the monster, was sent out on an expedition and was corrupted while out. The first two victims were by this person's hand, and it was out of a need for hunger to satiate and feed. Then once, after some research, I presume, the partner, and I point to the shredded remains, attempted rituals and set out to cure their love. And unfortunately failed and took many lives in the process. It's always tragic when it ends up like this, but at least we now know.
Seems a valid conclusion as any. And it's about at this point, you see the two other Black Cloaks emerging from the building. One of them carrying this bowl. And as Agithe and Bamela are both kind of the two that are up near this door, looking in this bowl, you see that they are just remains of human glands. They almost look like they have teeth marks and bite marks in them.
Hmm.
And the other individual is carrying, kind of on this little wooden platter, something that appears to be covered up with a bit of cloth. Lord Bamelo, I believe we found the skull. It would seem that this would be the cause of pointing over towards the abomination. Bamelo grabs onto the skull, keeping it covered. Just holds on to it.
Aggie immediately takes her gloves out of her bag and makes sure as much skin and takes her gloves out of her bag and literally like covers up her face as though so only her eyes are showing, full medical garb, full hazmat suit.
You're a bit new to these types of artifacts, aren't you?
Not necessarily, but I do like to keep my precautions.
Fair enough. Well, if you don't mind, I would like to take this skull for study. The Church of Prios has much interest in these things. And you can all hear this conversation happening.
I believe that we took our work for Mayor Night Pitch, and I think the Mayor Night Pitch should be the joint decider on what happens with the skull.
Give me a persuasion roll if you would.
Okay. That is an 8 out of 11.
8 out of 11. Okay. So Bamela just kind of looks towards you. I suppose that's agreeable at this time. Very well.
Very well.
And Nrobso's at the abomination's hand, just chopping off a finger.
Laerke would like this as a souvenir.
Are we sure that's
Aggie-
not corrupted?
Yeah,
Roswell?
Aggie. Yeah.
I've already been slashed by this thing's hand. I feel no corruption in me.
Well, I don't know if that's how corruption would work, but oh dear.
I will
Well,
wrap it in a cloth before I give it to Laerke and make sure Laerke knows of its history.
And it's funny,
Aggie.
as you're talking about this corruption and this finger, Nrobso, you begin to feel a little bit of warm energy coming from your chest, right from where about the severed finger with the ring is hanging. It's just a very, very, very slight warmth. Well, shall we head to the mayor's house then?
would you mind if we made sure that everything got searched thoroughly?
Have a look in the warehouse for yourself if you'd like, but I know my men are thorough.
Delightful. And I'd like to go in and I'd like to look for any other artifacts, especially rings, anything like that. Anything that seems to give off some kind of magical property.
Okay. Yeah, so you enter into this warehouse, and the first thing you notice is there are crates that are just bashed and broken. You see just splinters and bits of wood lying all about. But in the back corner, you see what appears to be a staircase heading down, built into the floor.
Very well, then I suppose I'm going down.
Okay. The rest of you, do you follow Keen into the warehouse?
I would have mentioned
Aggie-
to Nrobso to, how about we follow Keen? There might be something interesting for us.
Nrobso is still on the look for more rings. I would follow.
Okay.
Aggie will Aggie will stay outside with Balmello.
Okay.
Say but she is going to pass along the notes to Kovaan and be like, would you mind making any additional notes of anything that you may see for me?
And I'll nod. Of course, Aggie. I will do my best.
Wonderful.
And I take the tome from her.
All right. So moving downstairs into this bottom area, you see a couple of like stone tables that've got some parchment sprawled out on them. You see a small jar that has some kind of like lavender colored powder filled up in it. Along the back left side, towards the back corner, you see a couple of chains attached to the wall that have been completely broken.
I suggest maybe you take the lavender powder, Kovaan.
And I look at Nrobso. Would you like to carry it for me? We can split this later with Aggie.
If we split lavender, Nrobso gets nothing in return.
Lavender may suit you with things that Aggie can create. And maybe things I can create.
Nrobso has not thought of this. Yes, let us take this jar of lavender.
All right.
And I look at Keen. Can you make anything of the parchment? Is it readable? Is it a language I understand?
It is readable, and both of you being mystical and having knowledge of the arcane, you both see the description of a ritual spell. One that you're not familiar with, but looking at the writing on it, you can make out that it's called blood shrouding. And as it's described in this parchment, it would seem that an individual can flay a person, and then that individual is then able to dress in the skin of that person, making themselves look like them. However, they cannot change their eyes or their voice to match the victim. So it's like a slightly less powerful shapeshift.
I will be pocketing that, but I will be wrapping it in a cloth and pocketing it.
Okay, perfect.
And may I make a check to see if I can find any magical items, especially rings?
Sure. Go ahead and give me a resolute check if you would.
Okay, 9 out of 15.
9 out of 15. Looking about, you're not seeing any other objects or artifacts. The only thing you're really getting is a powerful sense of corruption coming off the chains. Aside from that, you're not seeing any other type of rings or artifacts lying around.
All right, so no one touch the chains. Nrobso. No. Do not touch that. No,
And
no.
Nrobso just saw a shiny. I will not touch.
Very good, very good. Well, I think we have about found anything of use here.
All right. So the four of you all rejoin up with Pomelo, making your way over towards Mayor Knight pitches home.
Is it cool if I have a quick conversation with Bomelo while they're downstairs?
Certainly.
Yeah, Aggie wants to pick his brain about this artifact.
Okay.
So yeah, as soon as the party is inside, Aggie looks at Bomelo and is just like, yes, I I see that you noticed my inexperience with artifacts, and I must say there's been I've heard tales of artifact crafters, and as an artisan myself, I've always been curious, but I've never had the experience behind artifact. Can you tell me what this is, how it came to be? What is the? It's corrupted, I know that.
It'll take me some time to study to see exactly what type of abilities this artifact holds. But as you can see, and you kind of hold it up underneath, still beneath the piece of fabric, but you can kind of see that through the fabric, it's almost got like the shape of a crown sitting on top of the skull. I believe this to be the skull of one of the kings of Symbaroum, retrieved from deep within the Davokar. Now, which king it was and what abilities this item holds, I don't know. I can tell you right now, it's a very dark energy. One that I would assume that, well, we can see what it did to Gorak, pointing down towards the abomination. He was the one, after all, traipsing around the town, bragging about this item. It seems the corruption took over. So we at least know that it's capable of creating that. What benefits it may carry, I do not yet know.
And how would an item such as a dead king's skull become an artifact, and then how would that artifact then become corrupted?
There are many secrets within the heart of Davokar that even the most knowledgeable scholars do not fully understand. There's dark magics within there. I mean, I'm sure you're aware of mystic power, seeing as the companions you choose to associate with carry those powers.
She smiles and says, alas, we all have our specialties, so to speak. And mysticism is not one of mine, but I allow my experts to speak on their expertise.
They seem very, very capable.
I will say they, as you've seen, they are certainly staunch and steadfast allies.
I'll be sure to remember that, should I ever need help in the future.
Of course.
Well, shall we? And at this point, the three of you emerge from the warehouse, making your way over towards Mayor Knight Pitch's home, where the gates are open. You're all welcomed in without having to fight any guards. Bomelo will give his side of what happened to the mayor, presenting the skull, leaving it on the table. You're free to give your side of the tale as well. And what you know is Bomelo, his details are matching up exactly with what you're saying. He's not trying to hide anything. He's not trying to blur any lines. But he does look towards Night Pitch. I just have one favor, Mayor. Let me take care of the skull. I will take it back. Tell you what, you can even leave it here with the Ordo Magica, and I'll study it here within the hold. And that way you know it's not far. And that way, any other individuals with the arcane knowledge looking once again towards Kian and Kovaan are free to observe it as well. Does that sound reasonable to my new allies? Night Pitch agrees to allow this to happen, but he looks towards you four. Is that agreeable to you? The Ordo Magica are very powerful, very knowledgeable in the arcane, and I trust the skull to be in their care.
That seems amenable.
Very well. Pomelo, I trust that you'll see its transport to the Ordo Magica. Pomelo nods, scooping up the skull. He begins exiting. As for the rest of you, I believe the hold owes you a great debt of gratitude, but words only say so much. I suppose you should be compensated as well for your hard work in this case. And he gives each of you 10 thaler. Now,
Wait. As the slayer of the abomination, I ask for one little thing. You seem to possess many things in your establishment. Are there any rings I could have? A pinky ring, a pointer ring, a wedding ring?
a simple little trinket such as a ring. He just kind of gestures, and you see the young woman from before, the young witch, come over. I'm just kind of upstairs in my chamber. There should be that small box with, I think it's got some kind of ring in it, if you wouldn't mind. And she nods and heads up the stairs. What about the rest of you? I suppose I could give you each a little additional piece of jewelry as a memento of what you've accomplished here.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm not one for jewels. However, I did use quite a few supplies during our combat. So, if I could receive some extra compensation in an effort to restock, that would be most appreciated.
That is agreeable, I suppose.
I'm gonna pipe in. We do have one more party member. She is outside. If you would compensate her also.
Of course. He gives you an additional $10, handing it to you, Kovaan. Wow. The young woman returns with a small silver ring and hands it to Night Pitch. Night Pitch just kind of slides it over towards you, Nrobso. This ring looks like it could fit easily on your index finger.
Turn around, and I very discreetly I slide that one onto the other the finger that's around my neck. So now that there's two rings on the same finger.
Okay, give me a discreet check if you would.
And are we applying hiding or sneaking to that?
Yeah, we can apply hiding to this one.
And a question about these: am I choosing whether to use my dexterous boon or my shadow spawn boon, or if because they both are a +1 to discreet, but specifically one is for stealing / hiding, and one is for sneaking / hiding. So is it just a +1, or would that be a +2 since they're both hiding?
Because you're just hiding this and you're not actually stealing anything, I'll give you the +2 on it.
Yep. Nope, 18. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, as you're sliding this ring on, just in the middle, you just pull this necklace out with the severed finger, sliding this ring on. Night Pitch just kind of looks at you for a moment. I'm not even going to question it after all you've done for me today.
Perhaps there is a trinket you may have that I might desire.
Such as?
Perhaps you have maybe a necklace or some other type of jewelry with a mirrored surface?
I do believe I've got some kind of locket that might do the trick. If you don't mind, once again. And the young witch once again excuses herself, bringing down a silver chain with a locket on it. I believe that one should have a small mirror in it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Of course. Now, as it's getting late in the day, I have also made arrangements for you all to stay at the Rose Garden this evening within town. Just go there, present this note. He slides over a piece of parchment, and your rooms will be provided to you. And if there's anything specific anybody would like to do at this time, speak now. Otherwise, this is where we shall end today's session.
Hold on. I think the witch lady likes me. She gave me a ring.
I think
Because
you are correct, my friend.
Well, I think it's time for...
I kind of look at her to kind of play along. Like,
oh, yes, that one's so cute.
How much extra did he give me for the herbs?
For your herbs, I'll say he gave you enough to make 3 doses of poison.
Cool. Can I just pop that into my inventory?
All right. So you have all been paid. An arrangement has been made so you have a place to sleep this evening. And that is where we will call today's session. So, as we close out what we'll call the prologue of Symbaroum here, you all gain 50 experience points. So for our viewers, there's no actual levels in this game. It's all done through experience. So everybody's abilities, they can use experience points to boost those up. They can use experience points to boost up their base attributes. So for example, the abilities all have a novice, adept, and master level, and those all get boosted up through purchasing through experience points. Obviously, it gets more expensive as you move up the chain, but we can decide how you all want to power yourselves up in private, off screen. And with that, I think that's all we got for this session. So thank you all so much for joining us. Once again, I'm Nate, your friendly neighborhood DMGM AM FM. You can find me on Instagram at dungeonmaster_discussions. And you can also find me streaming here on the Twitch on the Initiative Order. Thank you once again to our wonderful sponsors, Session Zero, Norse Foundry, Mithril Armory, Roman Flayer Gear. And I think that's all we've got. Stick around because we do have a holy shit new show starting up at 4 p.m. PST, so in about an hour's time. Far Realms, a very cool homebrew TTRPG based on Cult. I won't say too much about it, but it's going to be super scary, super, super cool. being run by the phenomenal Taryn, aka Valrook. So stick around, check it out. I'll be hanging out in chat, watching it as well. And then, as Kovaan said, we are back to Evermore Tales next Sunday. So stick around for that. And then tomorrow, of course, the continuation of Vault, run by the wonderful Stiletto Assassin. So check that out as well. And I will throw it back to my lovely players. Coral, where can people find you?
Hi, friends. My name is Coral Reefer. You can find me at Queer Venture Time. Well, Twitch.tv and Queer Venture Time. And then on the Twitters at Q Venture Time, because what? Queer Venture Time is too many characters. So, yeah, we do all sorts of stuff there, including we're going to be returning from our D&D hiatus in a half hour. And I will be leaving a lurk on the initiative order while we play that. But yeah, we are there every Sunday with Queer Venture Time, the Queer Venture, Sundays at 3:30 and PST. And then I'm playing a shit ton of Skyrim pretty much every other day there.
Perfect. All right, moving on over. Let's go to Keith.
Thanks for coming by, everybody. Stick around for what Nate said, the new show, Far Realms, coming up. You can see me on IG doing all my goofy stuff, mostly just showing my dog at this point. I am not Kevin Bacon, and you can catch our show next week, Evermore Tales, episode 4, and you may recognize a new character. Just saying.
Ooh, exciting. Kelsey, please.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm Tombs and Tomes on any social media, and I'm a great person to check out if you like literature and tabletop role-playing games, and I'm happy to make new friends and talk to you too.
Woohoo. And last but certainly not least, our local goblin, Nrobso, Leroyal.
Hey everyone, it is Leroyal on social media as Royalty No Y. And first and foremost, thank you everyone that has thrown any tips our way. That we really do appreciate it. And second most, if you want to check me more out, on Instagram, I will be posting a lot of cosplay updates or anything else I do in entertainment. And then also on the 28th, I will be a part of Creators Assemble and doing a D&D little one shot with them as well. So thanks for watching.
Perfect. And of course, you can check out our local barbarian, Miss Christine, at Slumberjane on the Instagram. I know she also does some Twitch streaming, so check her out, give her some love. She is an absolutely fantastic person, and we will have her back in the next game. I also do want to throw out there, we do have one new thing that I keep forgetting. We have some new merch through TeePublic. So currently, we've got some Vault t-shirts up there, some Initiative Order shirts, as well as a Nrobso shirt. So go there, snag that up. It's got this really cool little pocket Nrobso with his catchphrase across the back. It's super cool. That is available through TeePublic, and I'm sure we'll drop a link in our Discord as well that you can go and check it out directly through that. Until then, that's it for me. I'm going to shut up now. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you in the next adventure, everybody. Bye.